Welcome my lovely people. So in this video we are going to focus on Science paper 1 for the year 2024 for GCE, and our focus will be on section A. So section A deals with multiple choices. You have to make some calculations or some thinking and with what you've studied in order to make a right choice. So let's have a look at the first question. The diagram shows a simple pendulum that swings from A to C and back to B in 0.75 seconds. So this question is, what is the period of oscillation? So period is denoted by capital letter T given by small letter t over n. So small letter t is the time given, but we need to find the number of oscillations. What is the number of oscillations from A to C back to B? So first, let me give you the number of oscillations for A to B in case you encounter a question like that. So A to B, n is equal to 1 over 4 or 0.25. Then A to C, n is equal to 1 over 2 or 0.5, which is same as half. What of A to C back to B? N is equal to 3 over 4 or 0.75. What of A to C back to A? So back to its original point, n is just equal to 1. So that is one complete oscillation. So since our question is we are moving from A to C, then back to B. Therefore, n is equal to 3 over 4 or 0.75. So what's our t? 0.75 over 0.75, giving us 1. So this simply means that for every second, one complete wave was made. So our answer is point C. We go to question 2. A person fell from a transmitter of height 80 meters. Ignoring air resistance, calculate the time taken for the person to hit the ground. So I'm going to give you this illustration for you to see. So down here is the ground. Then here, this is where the person is. Then the distance from the height of this transmitter to the ground is given to be 80 meters. So now we want the time this person took to hit the ground. So from the 4 equations of motion, we are going to use this one. S for displacement or distance is equal to U is the initial multiplied by T plus half times A times T squared. Now, as long as the question is fail, so fail, the initial is always 0. So if we substitute where there is U, if we say U is equal to 0 times T plus half a T squared, so we can cancel this. S will be replaced by H for height, is the same. Then we are going to have half. A, we are going to use now gravitational acceleration, then multiply by T squared. So where there is H is where we are going to put 80 meters is equal to half. Gravity is 10 multiplied by T squared. So 2 into 2 is 1, 2 into 10 is 5. So 5 times T squared is 5T squared is equal to 1 times 80 is 80 over 5 over 5. T squared is equal to 5 into 80 will give us 16. Then we take the square root. Also here the square root. So T is equal to square root of 16 is 4. So the final answer is 4 seconds. Question 3. an astronaut can jump through a greater distance on the moon than on Earth. This is because the gravitational field strength. So vertical movement is in the y-axis. So we are told if a person jumps in a y-axis on moon, the distance covered will be greater than the distance that person can cover if that person jumps on Earth. What is the reason? So the reason is because the gravitational field strength is less on the moon, and because it's less, that person will cover a greater distance because there is no force of gravity to pull that person down. So that's the reason behind that. So let's move on to question number 4. So question number 4, a 100 centimeter uniform beam is balanced when pivoted at X. So point X is our pivot. So the pivot is the turning point. A mass of 200 grams rests on the beam as shown in the diagram. So we have been given mass. So the distance from the pivot to the point of action, the point of action is where the mass is hung, is called the distance. So we'll call this one as distance 1. So we need to find distance 2. So are we going to use the whole 60 centimeters, or maybe there is something that we need to do? Now, since we are told it's a uniform beam, it simply means that the center of mass for this beam is located at 50 centimeters of the same beam, since it was uniform. So somewhere here is where the 50 centimeters is. So 50 centimeters is here. So if this is 50 centimeters, then the distance between these two is 10 centimeters, and this is what we are going to consider as distance 2. So you have to be careful when dealing with a question like this one. So say moment 1 is equal to moment 2. Then we'll say mass 1 multiplied by distance 1 is equal to mass 2 times distance 2. Mass 1 is 200 grams times distance 1 is this one, 20 centimeters. Mass 2 is what we are solving for. Distance 2 is 10 centimeters. So I'm going to divide by 10 so that if we cancel, mass 2 is equal to, so we can cancel the centimeter. 10 into 10 is 1, 10 into 20 is 2. So 2 times 200 will give us 400 grams. So the answer is C. We move on to question number 5. Which types of surfaces are best absorber and best emitters of infrared radiation? So the best absorber is black and dull. Then the way the materials are, the best absorber will be the best emitters. That's what it is. If it's absorbing heat fast, it is going to lose heat fast as well. If it is absorbing heat slowly, it is going to lose heat slowly. So that's the concept here. Now question 6. The following diagram shows a sealed gas syringe containing a fixed mass of gas. The piston is moved from position 6 to position 3. The temperature of the gas does not change. So we have the question under the gas laws. So what happens to the pressure of the gas when the piston is moved as stated? The pressure of the gas. So we are looking at 2 factors here. So we have volume. So the volume, what happened to the volume? The volume decreased. So the volume decreased by what? By half. So decreased by half because the initial volume before the piston was moved was 6 and it was moved to 3. So half of the volume decreased. So if the volume decreased by half, what happens to the pressure? What is the relationship between pressure and volume. So the relationship is that the two are inversely proportional, which means that if volume decreases, the pressure must increase. Since the volume decreased by half, then the pressure will double. That's the point. So the answer is A, doubled. And if you are given numbers, make sure that the number that you are stated as your final answer should be double. So a drum of water of mass 200 kilograms is rolled up a plank of length 4 meters onto a platform of height 2 meters. So what is the mechanical advantage and work done on the drum against gravity? So work done is given by force multiplied by distance. So as long as we are dealing with against gravity, so we are looking at this distance as our height. So where there is D, we can now substitute with H. Then what of force? Since it has to do with gravity, we are going to say force is equal to mass by acceleration, so by gravity. So where there is F, we can put this. Therefore, the work done against gravity is the same formula that you use for potential energy. So let's find this one. So mass is 200 kilograms, gravity is 10, height is 2. So 200 times 10 is 2000, times 2 is 4000. So the work done is 4000 joules. So between A and B, we need to have this. Now, what of mechanical advantage? So we know that mechanical advantage can be found by load over effort. So we can find the load since we have this mass, but effort is not given. At least if it was, maybe if we are given efficiency, we could find mechanical advantage using efficiency. Now efficiency is not given. Then what else do we have here? If this plank, let's say, was frictionless. So frictionless simply means that there is no friction. We can find the velocity ratio, VR, is equal to distance moved by effort, which is L, this slanting one, divided by height. So 4 meters over 2 meters, giving us the velocity ratio is 2. So assuming that the machine is 100% efficient, velocity ratio will be equal to mechanical advantage. Now that point is not given, so we can't use that. Now as long as the efficiency is less than 100, therefore the velocity ratio must be greater than mechanical advantage. So we need mechanical advantage which is less than velocity ratio. So remember, velocity ratio is 2. So mechanical advantage should be less, which is 1.8 is less, 0.5 is also less. So between this and this, there should be an answer. So for this one, I think there is no answer. Maybe it's me, but if you have maybe an answer to this question, guys, please comment in the comment section below so that I can also maybe learn from you guys. What do you think of this one? So we move on to question number 8. A radio station emits radio waves at a frequency of 60 megahertz. What is the wavelength of the radio waves? So we're going to say velocity, which is semi speed, is equal to frequency times wavelength. So to make wavelength the subject of formula, so we divide by F and also here by F. So wavelength is equal to speed over frequency. So the speed of a radio wave is 3 times 10 raised to the power over, so this number must be known because this is the speed of all electromagnetic waves, and a radio wave is an example of electromagnetic wave. So what we need to do is we need to change this 60 megahertz into hertz. So mega simply means 1 million. So we are going to multiply 60 by 1 million. So 60 by 1 million becomes 60 million. So if you want, you can just say over 60, or if you want, you can convert this one into scientific notation. So into scientific notation, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we can say, or 7. So we can just say 7 times 10. 6 times 10 raised to the power 7. Now when dividing, make sure you use parentheses. So 3 raised to the power, times 10 raised to the power 8 divided by 7 times 10 raised to the power 7. So according to my calculations, I'm getting my final answer as 5. So that's what I'm getting. We can move on to question number 9. The question reads, the following diagram shows a water wave generated by a stone thrown into a pool of water. Okay, so what is the value of period? So we need to find period and the frequency of the wave. So for us to come up with a period, what is period? Period is defined as time taken for one complete wave to be made. So we are going to we need to come up with the point where we have one wave. So this distance here is called the crest, and the crest is considered to be half. Then this is a trough. So this point A, then here is point B. So this is giving us one complete wave. So what is the number on point B? So point B is 20, and we can see seconds. So period D is 20 seconds. What is frequency? Remember, frequency is the reciprocal of period, so it's 1 over T, which is 1 over 20. So 1 divided by 20 will give us 0.05. This is our frequency. So period D is 20, frequency is 0.05, so the answer is B. So question 10. A ray of light enters a block of glass from air and emerges at an angle of 25 degrees. What is the angle of incidence of the ray if the refractive index of glass is 1.5? So this 25 will be our angle of refraction. So say refractive index denoted by small letter n is equal to sine I over sine R. So to make sine I the subdivision formula, we can say over 1 and cross multiply. So 1 times sine I will give us sine I is equal to n multiplied by sine R. Sine I is equal to, what is n? Refractive index 1.5 times sine R will be sine of 25. So we can just now do the work on the calculator. So 1.5 by sine 25. So I'm getting 0.57402514. So we can shift the sign to the right side. We have I is equal to sine of inverse of 0.57402518. So if you go on your calculator, you punch shift sine answer, I'm getting 38.9 degrees, which is, if we round this one off, will give us 39. So this is our final answer. So sometimes you may not get the actual answer, so you just have to look at the number that is closer to the number that you have. So that's what I'm getting. We'll move on to question number 11. The following diagram shows two rays of light passing through a lens in region X. What type of lens is in region X and which type of image is formed? So number one, if you look at this ray of light, what is happening to this ray of light after passing through this X? So we can see that it's bending, but the type of bending, it's bending so that it is able to meet with this ray. So as long as it's bending and meet at one point, this is what we call a converging lens. Then since the image is on the other side facing down, then it's real. So the multiple choice A is correct. Question 12. The following diagram shows magnetic field lines around two magnets. Which of the following is true about P, Q, R, T, and X? So P, from the direction, we can see that the magnetic field lines are entering. So P is south pole, then this is north pole. Q is north pole, R is also north pole, T is south pole. So the direction of magnetic field lines can give you the picture of what is happening. Then X is called the neutral point. Neutral point is only created when we have repulsion. So P is south, Q is north, R is north, T is south, then X is neutral. So the answer is C. You can see P is south, Q is north, R is north, T is south, X is neutral. So the answer doesn't come from the multiple choices. No, the answer or answers comes from our brains. Then we choose the one that is corresponding to the answer that we have. Then 13, the following diagram shows a negatively charged rod brought near a metal sphere on an insulated stand, and the metal sphere was earthed. Later, the rod was removed and the earthing also removed. So the earthing is all about the making something that is charged to be neutral. Now, what will be the net charge possessed by the metal sphere? So since the earthing was removed, the nature of this will be the charge opposite to the rod. So this will have positive, since the electrons have been earthed. So the answer is D. Question 14. So how long would it take to charge a cell phone battery to a charge of 54 coulombs using a voltage of 6 volts and a current of 2.5 milliamps? So we know that charge is equal to current by time. So over current. So time is equal to charge over current. So charge is 54 over. So current 2.5 is in milliamps, so we need to change to amps. So 2.5 milli simply means 1000. So we divide. So we divide by 1000, which is 10 raised to the power negative 3. So if we divide the 54 by 2.5 times raised to the power negative 3, so I'm getting 21,600 seconds. So this is the time. Now we can see that we have in hours. So we need to change this in hours. So remember, 1 hour is equal to 3,600 seconds. So let's divide by 3,600. So if we divide by 3,600, I'm getting 6 hours. Still, we don't have the answer. We only have 0.06. So maybe to compare, this is maybe it can be an answer, but for this one I think it's a question mark for me. What do you think, guys? Let's move on to question 15. The cost of electricity for using a kettle is 80 kwacha at a cost of 0.65 kwacha per unit. It takes 5 minutes to boil in a day, and the kettle is used for 30 days. So I'm going to change minutes into hours. So remember, 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. So to change into hours, we put 5 minutes. So the key point is to change 5 into hours. I'm just going to divide by 60. So 5 divided by 60 is giving me 0.8333. Then multiply by how many days? 30. So multiply by 30, we have 2.5. So I'm going to say cost is equal to power. So is equal to power times the time times the cost per unit. So what are we solving for? We want power. So what is the cost? So the cost is 80. Power is what we are solving for. Time is 2.5. After we change that one, cost is 0.65. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply 2.5 by 0.65. 2.5 times 0.65. So I'm getting 1.625 p 80. So we divide by 1.625 and also 1.625. So 80 divided by 1.625, I'm getting 49.23. 49.23. So the answer is C. So we move on to question number 16. A transformer has 1800 turns on the primary coil. The voltage applied to the primary coil is 240 volts. How many turns are on the secondary coil? If the output is 40, so the input is 240, then the output is 40. So by what number was 40 divided by to give us 240 divided by to give us 40? So I'm going to say 240 divided by 40. So 240 divided by 40 is giving me 6. So 240 divided by 6 is 40. What of 1800 divided by 6? So this will give us 310. So the answer is this one. Or if you want, you can use this formula. Number of turns on the primary over number of turns on the secondary is equal to voltage on the primary over voltage on the secondary. So number of turns on the primary is 1800. Number of turns on the secondary is what we are solving for. Voltage on the primary is 240 over secondary is 40. 240 times ns is 240 ns. Then 1800 times 40, getting 72,000. So over 240 over 240. So I'm still getting the same answer. So if you can just find the ratio, you can find the answer. So number 17. The following diagram shows a simple AC generator. What name is given to the part labeled D? Y. So these should be a slip ring. Which particles are emitted by hot filaments of cathode ray oscilloscopy, and which type of field is used to accelerate them? So the particles emitted are electrons. Type of field is electric, since we have an anode, so the positive terminal, so we are dealing with the electricity. Then we move on to question number 19. Which of the following shows the correct charge for alpha, beta, and gamma? So for alpha is +2, beta is -1, gamma it's neutral. Neutral is same as 0. So +2 minus, so the answer is C. A nuclide of strontium is represented by this. What does the nucleus contains? So the mass number is 88. Can we find the neutrons? Yes, we can. So neutrons is equal to 88 minus 38, giving us 50. What of protons? So the protons is just 38. What of electrons? The electrons is also 38. So let's check. 38 electrons and 50 neutrons. This is correct. 38 neutrons and 38 protons. So 38 neutrons and 38 protons. This is also true. We have 38 protons and 38 neutrons. No, the neutrons, okay, this is not correct. Then see 38 neutrons, no, 38 protons, 38 protons and 50 neutrons. This is also okay. So for this one, I'm sure it's a free mark. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.